super special guest coming at us again. 2-in-1 show from Mamma Mia, Amanda Seyfried. Let's see what's going on with Amanda as she comes to us via, I think, from a set. Is she filming something? And she took time off to come on the show.
Yeah, very special.
There she is. Hello. What's happening? Where are we calling from, Amanda?
Where am I coming from?
Where are you calling from? Where are you?
Where am I calling from? I'm calling from New York City, Upper West Side. In
Upper
my
West Side.
trailer at work.
I love it. She looks great.
The commitment is unbelievable. Thank you so much for joining us today. Obviously, you know Dr. Scott Cohen. We've never met. My name is Sebastian Maniscalco. We have this show called Daddy vs. Doctor, and we're happy that you're joining us. So, what seems to be the issue? Give me the names of your kids, by the way.
It's a secret.
Oh, it's a secret. Okay, so
Is that very? It's one. It's not. I mean, Scott, you know them.
Right. We won't say.
I've actually never said them publicly, so I'm gonna, just in case. I don't know why.
Okay. We don't have to. We don't need to know the names of the kids. Okay. Let's just throw that out the window.
Great.
They're great. We'll just. What is the issue with one of the kids?
Okay, so it's really more of an issue with me as a parent than the kids, but I know a lot of people feel this way. A lot of moms I know, we always get really scared when the kids get fevers. And when is it too high? When should we start worrying? And what do we do when it gets really high? How do we avoid the ER? How do we avoid stress as parents? Because when we are stressed, our kids see it. And so I just need to know how to handle it and what's healthy and what's not.
Okay, let me speak to this first and foremost.
Dr. Sebastian.
Dr. Sebastian. I have two kids, 5 and 3, and the fever is scary. First of all, can you explain what the hell is a fever? What's happening?
They're hot. Yeah, no. I mean, by definition, a fever is any temperature of 100.4 or higher.
100.4. So kids got 99.6.
Technically not a fever, maybe heading that way. Everybody's like, oh, they feel hot, they have a fever, but technically that's the hard and fast definition.
Okay.
In reality, it doesn't matter, and I'll explain why.
Okay. Number 2, I want to ask you, Amanda, how do you administer the fever? Is it with a gun, a little temperature gauge? How are you doing it? Okay.
It's the gun on the forehead.
Does this shit work?
It's become like the new thing, right?
Okay, well, but to me, growing up, first of all, my sister does it up the ass, which apparently gets the best reading, right?
I've heard the same thing.
Okay,
but how old are her children?
19.
Yeah.
No. What's the most accurate way to get the temperature?
So the most accurate is a rectal temperature, but it really, you wouldn't do it in a child over 2 months of age. It's uncomfortable. It's unnecessary. The reason why we always say rectal temperature is under 2 months of age, because it is the most accurate. And if it's 100.3, it's something we're discussing and watching. And if it's 100.4 in the first month of age, it's going to the hospital and getting a myriad of tests to make sure they're not very sick and they just have the cold that everybody else has in the family. So that's why it makes such a difference, 100.3 versus 100.4. In older kids, the number doesn't matter. And as a parent, you're right. What are the 3 things everybody's worried about? The height of the fever. Is it going to cause brain damage? Are they going to seize, right? These are things that are going through your head as a parent. As a doctor, when you call me and say your child has a fever, if it's 101 or 105, makes no difference to me. All that matters is when you give the medicine, does it trend down? And how are they feeling and acting when they're not having fever? So it's actually not the height of fever, because the height of the fever will never hurt them. So even 104, 105 fever, as a parent, it's scary because, right, they're lethargic, their eyes are rolling, they're shivering, and it's miserable to watch, but it really, really won't hurt them. So what we look at is number of consecutive days of fever. So when it's getting more than 3 days, It goes up and down over 3 days. Most viruses, fevers last about 3 days, sometimes up to 5. When it's more than 3 to 5 days, we want to check the child out because we want to make sure nothing else is going on. Ear infection, lung infection, throat infection. Obviously, we'd see them sooner if something else was going on. But fevers that go longer, that's when we're checking out. And then seizures is an interesting thing. Did you ever worry about that? Like if your child had a fever, they would seize? Did that ever enter your head?
No, but now you gave her another thing to worry about. Look at her; she's scared stiff.
I'm too sensitive.
No, you hear about.
I'm too sensitive for you guys.
No. But you hear about febrile seizures, and actually, febrile seizures are due to how fast the fever rises, not the height. So we'll get a call. My child has 104 fever. I'm worried they're going to seize. They're not. The fever's already there. The problem with febrile seizures, they're not going to happen. They're not super common, but we see them sometimes. So I don't want you to worry about it. But what happens is the fever rises so quickly that then the child seizes. Often you don't even know they have a fever till afterwards. So again, the height of the fever, which is usually what we harp on, not a concern.
Why would a fever rise quicker or slower depending?
No, just depending on what type of infection they have and sort of luck or unluck of the draw, but it could rise really quickly from 99 to 101. 101 is not a super high fever, and that could cause it. But febrile seizures, thankfully, kids outgrow. It's more common to have a fever without a seizure, of course. So it's not something that I want you to think about.
Okay, one more question. This is going to come from me. When my cousin had a bad fever, it's like 103, 104. This is back when we were growing up. They put him in a bath of ice. Is that Italian or what is that?
Seems Italian.
Have you ever even heard of it?
No, people do like cool compresses. I just think ice would be very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
right?
Well, when you're burning at 104 to dip in a little ice bath.
But anything's cooler than 104. You could do a sauna. It'd be less than 104.
When my daughter had her highest fever, we put the cold compresses under her armpits and on her feet. And when I put the cold compress on her feet, she said it feels like knives. So also a really high fever makes them so sensitive and achy that it's so painful to even do something as simple as a cold compress. So, but what happened was it went down from 103.6 to 102.2 that quickly because of the cold compresses. So that was the good news. So it is interesting that temperature, you can change their temperature very quickly. An ice bath does seem a little Italian.
And did you notice like when it came down, right? The more it came down, the better she felt. So she'd have periods of like feeling better and then fever come back and she'd be like out of it again, right?
Yeah, she was so uncomfortable. I'd never seen her so uncomfortable, and it was really scary. And the ice was so quick to work, quicker than any kind of Motrin, any kind of Tylenol, which we also administered immediately. It's really hard. It's really hard to have kids. So I guess that's maybe the lesson I'm taking away from this.
Yeah.
But also not the number, it's how they are feeling between fevers and how the medicine works is the lesson that I've taken away.
Yep, and consecutive days, exactly.
Consecutive days, okay.
Right, because how long did it take for a fever finally to break? Probably about 3 days, right?
Well, knock on wood, my kids have never had fevers for that long.
Oh,
only
good.
2.
Good. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, we know you're busy. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope Dr. Cohen has quelled some of your fears on fever. I know I'm going to be taking an ice bath tonight. I don't know about you, but thank you so much. Best of luck on what you're filming there, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
Thanks, Amanda.
I'll call you in a couple days.
Sounds good.
That's parenting.
You got it.
All right, bye.
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 Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
You got it.
Bye.
Bye-bye.